Other characteristics for the stops were that if it was in a residential area, that it reflected, or commercial, it reflected the development in which it was. The services, all mixes of individuals within the community. Locations near residential areas assist those unable to maybe go to the actual specified districts. Locations near employment, such as the hospital, offer food alternatives and also create interest and investment within programs that are based in the community. It brings attention to underutilized space, and then it creates central locations for community interaction.
And then in addition to the sort of decentralized system, we felt that it was a necessity to create a physical asset for the neighborhood, because we saw that there was this disparity between the economies of space, between the really strong institutional buildings and their development on Burnett Avenue as starting to be a hub that caters more to that community. And we said that, the local community deserves a hub in a way also. For the urban gardens that are dispersed throughout the area, there's going to be a central neighborhood business district that's located at Reading and Rockdale. That's what I'm going to go on in my own personal work. But we wanted to talk about how that area, that center, is not only a distribution center for the food co-op system, but we envision it as an area for education, for teaching children to garden, or to teach them how to cook, to have educational, nutritional workshops for the residents of the community, and also having meeting spaces for the community there as well. Then, in addition to that physical asset of having the economic sort of hub there, we were looking at other aesthetics to revitalize the image and identity of the city that would possibly be focused on this idea of the food co-op now, with gateways and streetscape.
And yeah, I won't touch on it too much because I do it more in my individual, which we'll get to next.
You guys have 3 minutes to do everything else.
Okay, well then I'm just going to quickly, if you look at well, they're on here, just not on the Okay. My part of the presentation, I was tripping on things. I'm proposing streetscape improvements and implementations of gateway signs and banners. So this is the location map. The green is existing natural areas and public spaces. The dark green paths are where there will be proposed streetscape improvements, and there are 2 clusters, and I'm concentrating on the one more in the Avenue District. So this is Burnett, and then Forest. So just so you have sort of sorry. Okay, so the purpose of streetscaping, improving it, was to enhance the aesthetic appeal and allow and encourage movement, so that we would be taking specific streets and beautifying them so that they were almost paths to certain places that we wanted people to go. Not that we'd be neglecting other areas, but just so there were specific routes that were created to show more of the market stops and other public spaces that we were creating, so that people had places within the area where they could communicate. So I just have examples of implementation of different things that have been. It wouldn't be heavy streetscaping, it would just be minor improvements. For instance, this is on Forest, looking east. It's the location of the Coin Laundry and the Avondale Pride Center. So this would be a location for the food co-op truck to come and set up shop, so to speak. Sorry, I'm trying to rush with the 3 minutes we have. So just adding things in, like evening the sidewalks, planting trees, putting banners on streetlights, making the the road lines more visible so that it's easier for vehicles, but also so that pedestrians have something more secure to walk around. And then
you're eating up all the
it.
three. That's
yeah,
it.
the 3 minutes was for everything you guys have left, not just you. Okay, turn it over to somebody else.
Someone else can go on.
Try to explain my poster very quickly. I also looked at streetscaping, but starting off by redesigning traffic. briefly said, I wanted to make the neighborhood more pedestrian friendly. I focused on two main accesses, Reading Road and MLK. As in the framework, the roundabout was proposed. I proposed this further on MLK too, to make the traffic more fluent. Not only this is done on MLK, but I also separated the commuter and the local traffic, putting the commuter traffic under the ground, giving the streetscape on the ground the possibility for the traffic to go slower, to go more fluent, to bloom the community, and give room for the maybe future streetcar line. And on Reading Road, I reduced the 4 lanes to 2 lanes, and at each intersection with MLK, giving the commuter traffic the chance to get on the faster way to the intersection. And that's basically a case study graphics.
I'll briefly talk about mine. It's the urban food district, so it talks about where the gardens are throughout the neighborhood, and the basis of acquiring those properties has a lot to do with foreclosures in the area, which I looked at a case study in Detroit that talked about acquiring, there's a group called the Urban Food Organization. They acquired about 20 properties and took it over in cooperation with the county, who donated the property, and the cities who donated the water. So it's a really affordable program to implement without much funding. So I have located like all of the vacant and underutilized spaces and the foreclosed properties, and this property here is actually a city-owned property on Reading Road, and it's a layout of what potentially it could be, and it's all about employing the local community to tend to these gardens and produce food that will be sold at the co-op, and then redistributing those produce back to the communities for affordable rates.
Another Avondale group was thinking about that corner being a neighborhood business district. We were thinking about developing that area through phases. We were concerned about the scale that's there now, and we would want it to be more of a neighborhood scale for that community. In addition, we thought about what that commercial strip had already been, and thinking about Burnett Avenue as a business district that's also up and coming. So we wanted, one of the things that inspired me about Avondale was sort of these like impromptu vending sort of spots that would happen on the corners. People would start selling barbecue, or someone's like selling a box of flowers. And we thought about maybe this area being a spot where we have multi-uses, that we could have these green paving parking spaces that have service, whether it's water or electrical, and the community can sort of drive up their car into these spaces and start selling things in this area. But in addition to this sort of impromptu space, we envisioned that the community center was there. That would, for us, would be an impetus for activity. The food co-op center, the education center. We also thought about specifically how that commercial strip exists now, and thinking about how we might be able to retrofit it according to Ellen Dunham's book about being able to reuse that space. And we thought it might be interesting to create a commercial, from a commercial space, to be able to develop some low-income housing in there as well. And seeing as that as part of the network for the whole green food network that we were talking about before.
So can you point to what that is there?
Yeah, point to each thing.
Point to each thing.
Each component.
Yeah, where's the housing on that plan?
Okay, so this is Reading Road, this is Forest, and then that turns into, sorry?
I think it's Rockdale.
Yeah, Rockdale. This used to be Rockdale Road. We were integrating back some of these neighborhood streets and creating a smaller neighborhood street this way. Their first phase of development would be some sort of critical mass for that area. This is these are all commercial, save for this one, which might have commercial on the bottom and then housing on top. This was in France that I was looking at as a case study of redeveloping commercial spaces into housing.